All right, hello everybody. This is John Hansen. Welcome to the Florida Physique Report, episode number 5. We're already on 5 episodes for the Florida Physique Report. Today is Wednesday, August 13th, 2014. And on today's show, we are going to talk about the very big Tampa Pro Show that just took place this last weekend. Tim Gardner's really big amateur and pro event that took place over 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Tim again set a record. He had 224 professional competitors competing in 8 different events. That is the biggest pro show ever in the IFBB history. Tim set the record last year with 208 pros, and he beat that by a significant amount this year, so it was a really big event. In addition to that, Tim also had the Tim Gardner Extravaganza, which was an NPC event, a national qualifier, I believe for the first time, and he really brought in the competitors with that. 229 competitors this year, so really big event this year. Probably one of the biggest events in the Florida area, so we're going to talk about that. Also, we had a lot of pro athletes from the Florida area competing in those 8 competitions, so we're going to talk about those. We're going to give some recognition to them, and some of them did very well. Our interview this week is with Eric Diffenderfer. Eric is the owner of Freak Physique, which runs out of Orlando, Florida. He trains a lot of local competitors in the Florida area as well as all over the United States. And when I was at the Beachbody Classic a few weeks ago and I was interviewing the overall winners, just about everybody said they were a member of Team Freak Physique. So I contacted Eric and asked him if he'd want to come on the show and talk a little bit about his contest prep techniques and what he does to get his athletes ready. So we got a really good interview with Eric coming up right after our Florida Physique Report. In addition, I want to mention that because this was a really big weekend for bodybuilding in Tampa, Florida, we had a lot of pros come through the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa, and we had a lot of them sit down in our office here at the Florida Physique Report, and they were able to give some interviews. So we got an interview with Kala Bellamore, who is from Australia. Kala was training here all last week at the Powerhouse Gym out in downtown Tampa, and she took 4th place in the show. It was her first pro event, so we had a really good interview with her where she talks about her training. She's training under Milo Skarcev, who has been her coach for the last year, and she's got some really unique ideas about training and diet, and she even surprised herself with how good she looked this year. In addition to that, we also got a chance to talk to Jillian Revel. Jillian is a women's physique competitor. She's a professional, and Jillian took 3rd place in the event. She did really well, and she's going to tell us about her comeback because last year, right after the Olympia, Jillian had heart surgery. She had actually a hole in her heart, so it's really a fascinating story. Amazing that she came back in such great condition. Jillian's one of the nice people in our sport, so it was a great story, and I'm glad she had such a great comeback. And then finally, we have an interview with Sheridan House, who is a men's physique pro competitor. He lives right here in the Florida area. He's a member of Team Freak Physique, so he also got to sit down with us and talk to us. Sheridan is competing this weekend at the Dallas Pro, so he's trying to be the first Florida athlete to compete in the Olympia in men's physique. So we had a nice interview with Sheridan. So look for those 3 interviews with professional athletes: Kala Bellamore, women's bodybuilder; Jillian Revel, who's a women's physique competitor; and Sheridan House, men's pro physique competitor. They're all going to be on the special edition of the Florida Physique Report, which should be available right now on FloridaPhysique.com. So look for that. Some really good interviews there. We also shot some great training videos this week at the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa. Janine Lankowski, who is a female bodybuilder who used to train out here in downtown Tampa until she went to Canada for a few months, and now she's back. She competed in the show. We got a great video with her training shoulders right after the competition. Also, Eric came back with his Team Freak Physique. He's got 3 competitors competing this weekend at the NPC Florida State out in Orlando, promoted by Deke Warner. And Eric showed us what they go through when they go through their depletion phase. So he brought in 3 athletes who are going to be competing this weekend at the Florida State, and we got a video of that should be up this week also, so that'll be some interesting stuff. And like I said, this weekend, another big competition. This is the 3rd weekend in a row where we got a national qualified show out here in Florida, the NPC Florida State. So that show will be this Saturday, August 16th, out in Orlando, Florida, promoted again by Deke Warner. And FloridaPhysique.com will obviously be there covering the show. We might even be at the pre-judging this time. We might be doing some pre-show interviews, and then of course we'll be there at the night show. In addition to that, I also want to talk about a seminar that's going to be held this Friday, the day before the Florida State. It's going to be at the Rosen Center Hotel on International Drive in Orlando. It's going to be on August 15th at 5 p.m. This is a judging seminar. This is what the judges look for when you're on stage. So if you're a competitor and you want to find out firsthand what the judges are looking for as far as your posing, your standing relaxed, what they're looking for in your physique and all the different divisions, whether it's women's physique, men's physique, bodybuilding, figure, bikini, this is an invaluable seminar to go to. I went to it last year. You can really learn a lot. Again, it's Friday, August 15th at 5 p.m. at the Rosen Center Hotel on 9840 International Drive in Orlando, Florida. It's this Friday, so I urge you guys to go to that if you haven't been to that. And that'll be the day before the Florida State, which will be taking place on the 16th. All right, so that's what's going on. That's what's coming up. Let's go over the results real quickly on what happened this weekend. It was one of the biggest weekends in Florida as far as bodybuilding is concerned. They started off on Friday with the half of the pro divisions. They had 8 pro divisions at the show. They did 4 on Friday and 4 on Saturday. In the women's bodybuilding competition, Sheila Black, who trains right here at the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa, won first place. Sort of a surprise. I don't think a lot of people suspected her to win. She's always been a top contender, but Sheila came in sliced to ribbons in this contest. Her leg development was crazy. She was really prepared for this contest, and it was a great victory for Sheila. Congratulations to her. It was a great victory for her. She was very emotional on stage, and she's going to the Olympia because she took first place here. Jennifer Sadia was in second place. Monique Jones, who could have won the show obviously because of the size and structure she has, she took third place, but she was a little bit off condition, and I don't believe she has enough points to go to the Olympia, so she won't be going, unfortunately. And Kala Bellamore, who we did the interview with this week over here at the Florida Physique Report, she took fourth place, her very first pro show, and she came here from Australia all by herself. So we got to give a credit to Kala. It took a lot of guts to come out here all by herself and compete in a strange country, and it paid off. Her hard work paid off because she got fourth place. And Melody Spetko, who is also from the Florida area, from Lutz, Florida, she took fifth place. So congratulations to Melody. I want to mention the other Florida athletes that competed in the women's bodybuilding pro event. Alicia Alfaro from Miami, Sheila Black, of course, from right here in Tampa, Angela Dibitan from Orlando, Janine Lankowski from Ontario, Canada originally, but now she's again living in the Florida area, Melody Spetko from Lutz, Florida, and Beth Wachter from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. So that was the women's bodybuilding event. In the fitness event, Bethany Cisternino, who was the favorite going in, was the winner. Darian Tazerbaum was second. Christine Duba was third. Sakina Ludmila was fourth, and Sarah Kovac was fifth. There was 2 competitors from the Florida area competing in the pro fitness event, and were Christine Duba from Panama City Beach, Florida, who took third place in the contest, and Natalie Graziano from Trinity, Florida. In the men's physique event, a very big event, they had, I believe, almost 30 competitors in the competition. Sadiq Hatzovic won first place. Sadiq's always been a top placer, and he should do really well at the Olympia this year. Anton Antipov, who also won, I think, 1 or 2 shows already this year in the men's physique pro division, he was in second place. Tristan Murray was in third. Emmanuel Banks, who is a Florida resident, he was in fourth place, and Michael Ferguson was in fifth. To mention the Florida athletes in the men's physique pro division, there was Emmanuel Banks, who's from Riviera Beach, Florida, Michael Barnt from Clearwater, Florida, Travalis Blount from Orlando, Florida, Shane Asale from Boca Raton, Sheridan House, who we've got an interview with on our special edition of the Florida Physique Report. Sheridan is from Hobie Sound, Florida. Joe Herr from Bradenton, Florida. Steve Masherbosh from Jacksonville, Florida. Giovanni Paula from Miami, Florida. Butch Roll from Pembroke Pines. And Jermaine Ward from Sarasota. Those are our men's physique pro divisions. And then the men's 212, Alejandro Campanero from Miami was in it. He's a Florida resident. Jocelyn Jean from Boca Raton. Derek Leverant from Naples. Milton Martinez looked very, very good and from Altamont Springs, and Anthony Pateras from DeBray, Florida. In that division, Hidetama Yamagishi was the favorite, and he did win first place. But Marvin Ward in second place looked amazing. This guy's got a fantastic structure. The only thing that hurts him is he's so short. He's about, I think, 5 feet tall. But what a physique. What an incredible body. Marvin looked the best he's ever looked. Ricky Tricky Jackson was in third place. He looked great also. Thomas Bengali was in fourth. And Betola Abaspor, with some of the biggest legs I've ever seen from Iran, he was in fifth place. So that was the Friday event. On Saturday in the pro event, they started off with the figure competition. They had a huge division. I think 36 women got on stage for the pro figure. First of all, let me mention the athletes who competed from Florida. There was quite a few of them. Holly Beck from Sarasota, Jennifer Brown from Port St. Lucie, Jennifer Cordovez from Gainesville, Edith Driver from Sarasota, Angie Garcia from Miami, Gretchen Lichtenstein from Weston, Florida, Kamla Mako from Brandon, Florida, who trains right here at the Powerhouse Gym, Selena Pons from Fort Myers, Florida, who just got her pro card at the Masters Nationals. She was making her pro debut. She looked really good. Jennifer Taylor from Zephyr Hills, Florida, Jacqueline Timberlake from Coral Springs, also looked very good, great condition, and Christina Woodward from Jacksonville, Florida. And in the top 5 in that, Latora Watts took first place. Latora has, if you've never seen pictures of her, what an incredible physique. She's got such a tiny waist. She reminds me, I call her the Sergio Oliva of figure competition, because her waist is so tiny it doesn't even look real. She almost looks like a cartoon character. Alicia Coates was in second place, Megan Olson in third place, and Kamla Mako, right here at the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa, was in fourth place, and Wendy Fortino was in fifth place. That was the figure division. And the women's physique, another huge division, another like 36, 37 competitors. It was incredible. First of all, let me mention the Florida athletes. Janaea Barrett from Port St. Lucie, Ava Cohen from Pompano Beach, Jill Dearman from Hobie Sound, Lisa Grasso from Jupiter, Florida, Asha Hadley from Miami, Florida, looked very good. Rosella Joseph from Green Acres, Florida, also looked really good. Vicki Nixon from Palm Coast, Florida, and Danny Reardon from Orlando, Florida. And in the top 5 in that, Heather Grace was in first place. Karina Nascimento, oh, I forgot to mention Karina. Karina is obviously from Boca Raton, Florida. Karina, always a top placer. She was in second place in this contest. Jillian Ravel was in third place. Teresita Morales was in fourth place. And Asha Hadley from Miami was in fifth place. So congratulations to those ladies. Really, really competitive show. The bikini, another big event. 25 competitors. We had a lot of competitors from the Florida area in the pro bikini division. Angelus Burke from Delray Beach, Vanessa Campbell from Palm Coast, Megan Duncan from Coconut Creek, Ali Garcia from Boynton Beach, Asia Mendoza from Daytona Beach, Naomi Ola, also right here at Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa. She's from Ruskin, Florida. Amanda Otero from Boca Raton, India Paulino from Pembroke Pines, Jennifer Peoples from Navarre, Florida, Catherine Radulik from Plantation, Florida, Lisa Shimkat also trains here at the Powerhouse Gym. She's from St. Petersburg, Florida, and Michelle Sylvia from Coconut Creek. And in the top 5 in the pro bikini, India Paulino from right here in Pembroke Pines, Florida. She took first place, followed by Bianca Berry. Naomi Ola was in third place. Michelle Lewin is in fourth. Michelle, also a Florida resident, I believe she lives in Miami. And Vanessa Campbell, who is from Palm Coast, Florida, was in fifth place. So Florida residents did very well in the bikini. And I know Naomi Ola is going to be competing this weekend in Dallas to try and get that Olympia spot. I think she's very, very close. In the men's open bodybuilding, this was the event everybody was waiting for. Victor Martinez made his comeback, and he looked fantastic. He looked the best he's looked in years. He was in first place. William Bonnick from, I believe he's from Holland. Yeah, he's from Holland. He took second place. William looked incredible. First time I ever saw him compete. Really, really thick competitor. Mohammed El Benoot, or Mohammed Ali Benoot, I should say. He was in third place. Incredible conditioning, as always. Mohammed is always a rip condition. Max Charles is looking amazing. This guy is so wide and so big. If he brings his legs up a little bit more, he was in 4th place, and Ben White was in 5th place. In our the competitors that competed from the Florida area, Lloyd Dollar was from Cape Coral. Rafael Jaramillo was from Miami, Florida. I believe Rafael is in his 2nd year competing as a pro. And Bill Wilmore from Hollywood, Florida. Bill looked also really good. So that was our pro division. Amazing competition, 224 athletes, some great bodybuilders, and they had a huge crowd Saturday night who all came out to support the bodybuilding division. So it was really, really well attended. Great show by Tim Gardner. Congratulations. I know it's got to be a hell of a job putting on such a big event with so many athletes. All right, let's talk about the Tim Gardner Extravaganza, which was held on Saturday. And like I said, this had 229 competitors, huge competition, national qualifier show. I just want to go over the winners really quickly. Started off with the Masters Men's Bodybuilding. Greg Hartley was the winner in the over 60 division. Calvin Hale was the winner in the over 50 division. And Jose Santiago was the winner in the over 40 division. The novice bodybuilding class was won by William Arbogast. The teen bodybuilder, his name was Brian Garcia Carrasquillo. Very good bodybuilder. Brian looked incredible for a teen bodybuilder, especially his legs. His legs were not only developed, but also incredibly separated. So I look forward to seeing Brian compete in the future. He looks like he's got a good future if he continues with it. In the women bodybuilding division, Tara Silzer White, who is the wife of bodybuilder Ben White, pro bodybuilder Ben White. She looked fantastic. Big, ripped. She looks like she's ready for the national level. I know she's from Canada, so we'll see where she goes from here. In the women's physique division, Indrell Thomas, who's only been training about 3 years, won the overall. She looked really good. And I believe she's doing the nationals in Miami, so we look forward to seeing how Indrell does. The fitness competition was won by Julianne Trebbing, who's only 22 years old. So Julianne has got the best ahead of her. She's got a lot of enthusiasm for the sport, so as she continues to work on her routine and her physique, she should do really well. Figure division was up next. The over 50 was won by Viviana Smearley. Over 40 was won by Jeanette Samuelson. And then the over 30 was won by Jessica Reyes Padilla. And I got to mention Jessica because this girl's really got potential plus. When she came out on stage, the whole crowd, as well as I'm sure the judges, were just amazed at how great Jessica looked. She's got amazing shape, wide shoulders, tiny waist, great leg development, and she was in great condition. She really trained hard for this. So to come out of nowhere and just shine on stage like that, every so often it happens at a bodybuilding show, and the person that did it this time was Jessica Reyes Padilla. So in addition to the over 30 figure division, Jessica also went into the novice figure division, and she won that quite easily because she didn't look like a novice competitor. And then she went into the open figure division and won the tall class and the overall. So Jessica came out with 3 victories, over 30 masters figure, novice figure, and open figure. So Jessica is a resident of Puerto Rico, and we don't know what she's going to compete in next. She may do the nationals if she's eligible for that. So I look forward to watching her career because this girl's really got it. In the open figure division, the short class was won by Jeanette Samuelson, and the medium class was won by Zulika Resende. Now the open men's bodybuilding, 34 competitors, so it was very competitive for a change, and it was nice to see that. The bantamweight was won by Donald Tu. The lightweight was won by Fawaz Alawa, who was really ripped. Never saw him compete before. The middleweight was very impressive. Christopher Freeman. Christopher was not only thick, but also really ripped and had a real finished physique, so he looked incredible. Light heavy was won by Jaciel Laveau, who was actually from France, and Tim Gardner is his coach. Jaciel, I believe, was the most ripped competitor on stage tonight. And the heavyweight was won by Medhi Larajani, another really good physique. I never saw this guy compete either. Medhi had really good size and shape and good conditioning. Could have been a little more ripped. I think if he would have been a little more ripped with his size and his shape, he would have won the overall. And the super heavyweight is another competitor who comes right here from the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa, Jack Stosh. I see Jack training out here a lot. I didn't know he was competing in the show. Looked really good, great leg development. And then the overall went to the light heavyweight winner, Jessael Laveau from France. And I thought it was very close between him, Christopher Freeman, Medhi Larajani. Really good overall pose down. We've got that overall pose down up on FloridaPhysique.com, so you want to check that out. And then we go to the men's physique division. The over 40 was won by Frank Same. Frank, again, I mentioned him on the show before. Frank is a former bodybuilder. He used to compete in the 80s. He's from the Miami area, I believe. And now he's switched over to men's physique. He usually competes in the Masters division only. He's won the Southern States this year, and he won the Dexter Jackson Classic. And now again, he wins this division here at the Tim Gardner Extravaganza. The novice physique was won by Felipe Silva, who was competing in his very first show. His wife is I believe she's a figure or a bikini professional competitor with the IFBB. So they obviously have a good team going, and Felipe won the overall at the novice. And then in the open division, I got to mention the short class. It was won by Christopher Palmer, but the guy who stole the show this night, his name is Hassan Banks. Hassan, you could see when he was walking on stage, he could barely walk. He needed help from the expediters to even get up on stage or to turn around toward the back. And he was obviously suffering from some condition. The audience caught on to this right away. They gave him a huge ovation every time he came up on stage, because obviously this guy was battling some tremendous obstacles to be up there, and he showed an amazing amount of courage and determination just to walk up on stage. But what was even more amazing was Hassan took second place in the contest, and he had a pretty tough class of competitors. He beat a bunch of younger guys who obviously were not suffering from any conditions like he was, and he went all the way to second place. So congratulations to Hassan. When they awarded him the second place at the night show, he got a standing ovation. So what an amazing determination. He suffers from a neurological disease that impairs his walking and his motor skills. And guy still goes to the gym, he still diets, and he says training really saved his life. It helps him mentally as well as physically. So I can't take my hat off enough for Hassan Banks, who took second place. We have an interview with him on FloridaPhysique.com, so please check that out when you get a chance. The medium class in the open men's physique division was won by Felipe Silva, who also won the novice, and then Eric Hernandez, who had a really good physique. His physique almost reminded me a little bit of Francis Benefato, who was a former pro bodybuilder from France. Eric won the tall class, and then the overall, Felipe Silva won the overall. So Felipe had a really good night, winning both the novice men's physique and the open men's physique. The last division of the evening was the bikini divisions, and the teen bikini was won by Amanda May Henriquez Qualo, if I'm saying that right, Amanda. She had a really, really good physique for a teenager. Novice was won by Nicole Giddish. The Masters bikini over 30 was won by Melissa Allen, who looked really good. She had a good look up on stage. And then in the open division, there was 40 competitors in the bikini division. Short class was won by Joy Zagia. Medium class was won by Danielle Dominguez. And the tall class was won by Cassandra Marshall. And Joy Zagia won the overall from the short class. I did an interview with Joy after the show, and she told me this was her third competition. She does not use a contest prep coach or a diet coach. She's learned all by herself. She learned from her mistakes, from what she did wrong in the other two competitions she entered, and she fixed it, and she came in with a really good physique. She had a look that I think a lot of judges think is the ultimate bikini look, which was really good shape, really good curves, but not too much hardness and not too much muscle. So congratulations to Joy, and congratulations to Tim Gardner on putting on such a fantastic event. The Tampa Pro Show and the Tim Gardner Extravaganza is now history. And we look forward to next year's show. It'll probably be even bigger than this year's show, which is amazing. He breaks records every year. So that's it for the Florida Physique Report. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Eric Diffenderfer, who is the owner of Freak Physique, and he's going to give us some tips on how he coaches his athletes to be winners. Thanks for joining us on the Florida Physique Report. My name is John Hansen. We'll be right back. All right, this is John Hansen with the Florida Physique Report, and we have our special guest today, Eric Diffenderfer, right? Diffenderfer, I'm sorry. So Eric is a contest prep coach, and the reason I wanted to talk to Eric was when we did the Beach Bodies Classic, which was a couple weeks ago, and where was that? That was in Melbourne, right? Yes, sir. Yeah. we were doing the interviews with the overall winners, and just about everybody I talked to, they all said they worked with you, with Team Freak Physique. That's the name of your contest prep.
Yes, sir.
So I thought, you know, we've had bodybuilders on here, we've had figure people and bikini athletes, but we've never talked to someone who preps people for a living. I thought it'd be interesting, especially since all these people were overall winners and they all had good things to say about you. So obviously you're a bodybuilder. You started, you know, training yourself. When did you start training, and like when did you start competing?
Well, I've been training since about 2000.
Okay.
I took about 5 years to even step on stage. I wanted to make sure that there was like no doubt in my mind that I was going to win an overall. You know, I don't do anything like you know, halfway. I'm all or nothing. So, you know, I studied, was a student of the game for 5 years and busted my butt. I did have a couple coaches myself that I worked with coming up, and I pretty much waited 5 years until I stepped on stage for the first time. And my first show was the Debbie Crook Classic in 2005, which was in Daytona Beach, and I won the overall. And from there, I was hooked, you know? It's one of those things, like once you work your butt off like that, set a goal and then achieve it, that personal, like that rewarding feeling of like, you can kind of achieve anything was everything for me. So that's how I got started. I did have a couple prep coaches when I started, you know, and
now for your first show, did you have a prep coach?
Yeah.
Or? Okay,
yeah,
you did. Okay.
Yeah, I did have I had one for that show. I've never done my own thing yet. But I've never been on 100%. I've always been peeled on stage, but I've never been 100%. They could never have me peak full and, you know, dry at the same time and everything. So the next time I step on stage, you know, I'm going to be doing my own thing, and I'll make sure that it's there.
When was your last show?
2011, Southeastern. I won a super heavyweight class, and that was my last show. After that, Team Freak Physique was born, and from there, I've put everything into it pretty much since then, and kind of took my own, I guess, everything that I had from competing, that I've learned from multiple coaches, and kind of put that into, you know, effect with my people, and kind of, you know, I've been itching to compete since then, but since I do have the people that I have, and I have a responsibility to them, so I don't want to take anything away from them, from competing myself and being dieted down and kind of like cranky, brain dead. I want to make sure that I give them 110%, you know, so and it's really important to me, my business, Team Freak Physique. You know, I just want to make sure that I do everything I can to make it the best that it could possibly be.
And when you are getting ready for a show, you're not really 100% you, you know?
Yep. You're carb depleted, your brain's just not functioning properly, and then you have all these people in shows, and they're relying on you physically, mentally, everything, emotionally, to be their backbone, and you know, not to mention cortisol levels. Even though I'm used to it by now, cortisol levels, like getting other people ready for shows that last week and everything, you know, my cortisol levels rise, and I'm not going to be able to be my best if I'm helping other people with their stresses and stuff like that too. So there'll be a time I'll come back again, and you know, it may be 2015, and maybe later than that, but I definitely have been itching. I see all my people doing really well.
Yeah, now you're ready to get up there again.
Like I'm ready to rock out again, you know. So, but this is the most important thing right now for me. Kind of like change gears and like focusing on all them. I'm kind of living vicariously through all my competitors. You know what I'm saying?
So how many people do you have now, Eric?
I mean, I got quite a few. I don't know the exact number, but it's definitely quite a few.
Mostly from the Florida area too.
It's Florida. It's basically all over the United States, but mainly Florida. I'd say probably 3/4 of them are from Florida. The rest are from around the United States. I got some in like Iceland. I got some in Germany. I got some in like Afghanistan. I got some soldiers in Afghanistan.
No kidding.
That you know, love bodybuilding and want to compete when they come back. So, you know, I know how lonely it is out there for them, and I respect the hell out of what they do, and the service that they provide for us to have what we have. So, you know, I really make sure that I take care of them as well too. And so, you know, I have everything. I do everything from bodybuilding, physique, figure, women's physique, bikini, everything.
Yeah.
And I really don't have any weak points, I guess you could say. I'm well-rounded in all those fields.
Yeah. Now, how did you get to do that? I mean, because I know that's probably different prep for everybody. You know, obviously a bikini girl's going to train differently than a bodybuilder.
There's definitely different training systems for each group. You know, for bikini girls, it's more of like plyometric stuff, some slight upper body stuff, lots of glute, lots of hamstring touch-up stuff. And
now, when you work with a client, do you look at them first, obviously, and see what they need to work on? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I do when I have an eval with them, I'll get them in. I'll make them take their weight in the morning, and I'll get them to come see me. You know, bring their suit or their trunks or whatever it may be. I'll have them go through rounds of posing to see what their weak points are. I kind of focus my my training systems off of the weak points. So I'll look at them and I'll be like, you know, this needs to come up, this needs to come up, this needs to come up, and I will put a program together based off their weak points to make sure that comes up.
Right.
And then I'll just gather as much information from them as possible to figure out what everything that they do is and kind of put stuff together. I kind of customize it. There's no cookie cutter stuff with me at all. I'm completely against cookie cutter stuff. So, you know, and then we meet often, very often, for body fat analysis and stuff like that to make sure that they know that what they're doing is right and we're on the right track and we're tracking it the entire time. That way, you know, especially with girls and stuff, a lot of times the girls will step on a scale after a week and they'll be like, I weigh the same exact amount, and they've been busting their butt and it's really demotivating for them. Yeah. But when they see the numbers, you know, and they see that their body composition is changing, then that's real for them, you know what I'm saying? So that keeps them pushing through, especially towards the end when it gets tough, you know, and they're really having to grind it out towards the end and do what they got to do. It's motivation to make sure that they keep pushing. Right. And that same thing goes with the guys and stuff. I treat everybody the same way, you know, when it comes to my approach to tracking things, you know. I like to take a really scientific approach and make sure that everything's calculated and tracked. And
now let's take like Devin Manning. You know, we just saw her at the Beach Bodies, and then she went to the Dexter the next week and won that, which was a national qualifier. Now she's going to the North America. Now she told me that she had done, I think, the Europa, right? When you see someone like that, could you see the potential she had?
Absolutely. Like I kind of, it sounds silly, but I kind of see myself as a talent scout. So when when I'm in the gym, I'm constantly looking at bodies and looking at structure and looking at these people with superior genetics and
what they could be.
Exactly. And I've taken several people like that, even people that, you know, that don't have money, that don't, whatever it may be, and I see the talent in them or see the potential in their structure, and I'll just take them under my wing and kind of help them out and guide them through the process, because I do see potential. I did that with a guy just recently, Adrian, I forget his last, Adrian Richards.
He was great.
Yeah, man, he's got amazing structure, and I just kind of grabbed him out of the gym and I was like, yo, let me help you out, you know what I'm saying? And helped him out, kind of sponsored him through the whole like registration process and stuff, just to get him on stage, because he just got such a superior genetic physique. And he ended up winning the overall at the Beachbody. You know what I'm saying? So,
and close second at the Dexter.
And same thing with there's a lot of competitors like that, but with Devin, like you were saying, she just has that effortless, superior structure. Like wide clavicles, like small waist, really like long, lean muscle structure, and it's really effortless. Like with her, it's, you know, some girls you got to pump up backstage and get them all ready and whatever. I literally have her lay down until she get ready to go on stage. She stands up, does some posing, and goes out on stage. It's really effortless for her, and the judges love her to death. So we're looking to turn her pro this year for sure. I think she got a really good chance at North Americans.
I think so too.
And if it doesn't happen there, we're going to take it to nationals at the end of the year. You know, so that's what's going to happen there. I got another guy, Mike Cavanaugh, men's physique competitor, that's going to be up in North Americans as well. He's been knocking on the door for a while now. He took second at Junior USA's this year, and then you know, it was real close. It was at top. It was only one at that show, so one per class for that show, so that was super close. But
So it's almost like you're a judge when you look at these people, right? Because you have to look at it from the judge's eye.
Absolutely.
And then you, not only that, but you have to see their potential and see what they need to bring out in order for them to be winners.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll manipulate posing with my for bodybuilders. I'll actually create their posing routines for them. If they can't do it, I'll help them go through the posing routine. I'll make sure that, you know, all their posing's on point. I'll still send some of my people, the new people, to like the NPC, what the judges are looking for, like posing seminars.
They have one of those coming up next week.
Just to help support the NPC and those guys there, because, you know, we're like a small, tight family, so you got to keep people supporting there, and that's just, you know, I think it's important.
You also help your competitors with mentally too, right? Because I remember when I was talking to Adrian, he was saying, if Eric says something, I believe it, you know?
I mean, I'm not the kind of person that's going to blow smoke, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm pretty real when it comes to it, and it's not always what you may want to hear, but it's what needs to be heard to make sure people stay humble and keep grounded mind and want to keep pushing hard to improve, you know? Even when my competitors, if they win an overall or if they place third or don't place at all, I still make them go get critiques from the judges, just because nobody's perfect. No matter what, there's always room to improve. Right. And I do value what the judges say, so I want to make sure that between what I think and what I'm seeing, plus what they're thinking and what they're seeing, you know, we can make those changes to make sure that they can be the best that they can be. Yeah, that's important too, because they need to hear the truth, you know. Absolutely. And I think when guys, well, I mean, I come from an era where there weren't no contest prep coaches. You basically did it yourself. Right. And the only ones you had to rely on were family and friends, and of course they would always say, "Oh, you got screwed, man! You got screwed. You should have won." You know, it's always gonna be biased. And they're gonna always pump you up, but you need somebody that will be your backbone, but also is gonna be firm, and it's not gonna bullcrap you. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that they hear that stuff, because otherwise they're not gonna want to improve. If they're always getting patted on the butt and being like, "You look awesome. I don't know. You should have won that, this and that." Right. That doesn't do anything for your it doesn't help your motivation. You know? I remember Chris Dickerson said that once. He said that's the worst thing you could tell somebody that's lost is they got screwed. Yeah, you know? Because then they think it's in the hands of somebody else. Like for instance, with Jesse Dean when he was in the overall at the Dexter. He came off stage and he was kind of like, and you know, I was like, dude, you got beat. You know, that light heavyweight was on point. He was spot on. Conditioning was amazing. You know what I'm saying? It was just right there. You were bigger, harder, you know, freakier. He was just more put together, and his conditioning was spot on. You know, and you got to be real with people like that. I'm not going to be the one that's going to be like, oh, you got ripped off, this and that. I'm going to be real. If I think it was a little sketchy, then I may, you know, say something, but in the end, I'm just going to be real and let you know we got room to improve. You were about 98%. We can still be better for the Florida State. Let's go back to the drawing board, figure out what we can do to improve that little bit, that 2% to be 100%, and let's make it happen, you know? Right. And that's what we're going to do this week at the Florida State. So I got some people, and I got about 9-10 people in that. So we're going to, some of the same people from the Dexter. Okay. And we're looking to bring that home, you know, for everybody. So. Now, being a bodybuilder, how did you learn how to train like figure competitors or bikini competitors? Well, my wife started as a figure competitor, and you know, big shout out to her too, because she helps me out with a lot of stuff, Kelly, and you know, she helps me out with the day-to-day stuff with Team Freak Physique, and if it wasn't for her, a lot of the stuff wouldn't be possible, you know. So I really appreciate what she does to help me out with that and the team. She started as a figure competitor in 2005. And, you know, so I always did her diet, you know, always did her, like, helped her out with her stuff. Right. And it was like, so I started with that. You know, everybody's body's kind of the same when it comes to what you do to get their metabolism, their metabolic rate revved up and stuff. So, you know, it's just manipulation of certain things and knowing people's bodies. Everybody, you know, certain people, they come to me and they're like way under the base of what they need to be eating, you know, and you just got to kind of help them get it up to where it needs to be to push their metabolic rate as much as possible. And then kind of get things fired up like that, and then go from there. You know, it's people are different though, as far as some may not react well to carbs, or some may need a lot more cardio and things like that. Yeah. I'm not big on cardio. I don't like. I'm not either. I'm not big on it, so I like to let the food do the work, you know, and the training and stuff like that. But you know, there is a place for cardio, but I'm definitely not a believer in this 3 hours of cardio like some other people do.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not a believer for that. I don't like getting into that super low food where they're like, you know, doing 3 hours of cardio, lowering their metabolic rate in every different way to where they have a chance of causing any kind of metabolic damage or anything like that. I like to keep the food high, you know, and just kind of let the training and let the metabolism do the work. And then towards the end, maybe jump up the cardio a little bit here and there when necessary, you know.
And what about the last week prep? Because this is something that's like a big mystery for a lot of competitors, and a lot of people don't know what to do. I've seen so many people screw up, you know, the last week. They're in good shape, and then they increase the carbs too much, or they decrease their water, or they're cut out their sodium, or they eat too much sodium, or whatever. Do you have a certain philosophy on what you follow with that, or is everybody different?
Yeah, I mean, for guys, I do a little bit different than girls do, obviously, because girls are a little bit more sensitive with certain things. Yeah. And it really has to do with, like, you know, I don't have just a cookie cutter approach on that peak week. You know what I'm saying? Where a lot of coaches will be like, this is what you got to do to the end, and I won't even look at you. I get pictures on a daily basis, sometimes twice a day last week for everybody.
Make adjustments?
No, yeah. And some people, if they're so good on the week before, I won't even change anything. I'll just kind of ride it in with them, you know, because, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
and I remember Dorian was big on, like, you know, at that last week, the minor amount of changes you can make if you look good, you know, that's just ride that in.
Right.
And then some people, you know, we do depletion and stuff like that, and there are some other things that we do as well. So it's just kind of up in the air, and it's based on per person, per basis to what their body's telling me what they need from that situation to peak at that right time. Right. So I don't really have like a cookie cutter approach to that last week. It's really going to have to do with what you look like day to day, and I kind of make manipulations on a daily basis. Yeah. You know, I'm really hands-on when it comes to everything. I don't do anything. It's not like I see you once a month. I'm seeing you multiple times a month. And when it comes to like that final 8 weeks, it's every week. Sometimes like then it gets closer, maybe every day. Yeah. Somehow to where make sure, even if it's pictures or whatever it may be, sometimes twice a day at the very end, you know, because the body changes once it's like dialed in. The body can change like every couple hours. So it's like it's really important to make sure that, you know, you stay on top of things. So I'm just crazy about this stuff. So I want to make sure that these people have just the best attention they could possibly be, you know, because it's just important to me and for my business, my reputation, everything else, that I give everything.
If you got a new competitor, someone who's never done this before, do you also sort of coach them along with what to expect as far as registration? This is how pre-judges go, pumping up. Is a big
absolutely.
Thing.
Well, usually I'm always backstage with my competitors. So we do team meetings like twice a month usually, where, you know, at my gym they have like studios where there's stages there, so we'll kind of run through a mock show, you know what I'm saying,
that's cool.
And bring them all out in their groups and stuff like that, and put them up on, let them come out their individual turns, and then send them off on stage. Make sure you coach them on how to stand, how to project their body to the judges. Be aware of their stage presence compared to where the judges are, not so much the audience. Yeah. And just make sure that they get those dry runs to make sure that they're
not going up cold.
You create good muscle memory for the competitor, because a lot of times you get on stage, you see those lights your first time, your adrenaline spikes up, and you black out, and you go out there and you just kind of go through the motions. Now, if you're going through the right motions, like your perfect posing makes perfect practice, and you're doing that, well, your muscle memory is going to take over, and then you're going to perform what you're supposed to be performing. But if you're not doing it right, you're going to go back to whatever you've been doing. Right. So I'm a firm believer in lots of perfect practice makes perfect posing, and so we do that twice a month. Usually, as long as, you know, I'm available, because I'm not traveling for shows or whatever. Yeah. And then when I see them, we work on a person-to-person basis on their posing and stuff like that. And backstage, I'm there for my competitors to make sure that they're doing what they got to do. I go over everything the week before. They have all their information for what they need, what they're going to expect, and what to look for and stuff like that. And you know, so it's like, it's pretty detailed, and just try to get their mind right, try to keep them stress-free. That's the main thing, is keep their cortisol levels as low as possible. Yeah. And just practice, 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 because the more you do it, the more comfortable you be, and when you know you've done everything you could possibly do in the process, that's going to build the confidence that you need to have to step on stage. You know you've done everything you can, and you know it's time to perform. So
All right, Eric. Well, thanks for joining us, Team Freak Physique, and I wish you the best with all your competitors.
Thank you very much, John, for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
All right. I think it was a great opportunity to learn from a contest prep coach who is very successful like you are.
I appreciate it very much. I'd love to come back again anytime you have me.
All right. That'd be great.
Cool, bud.
All right. For Eric from Team Freak Physique, this is John Hansen for the Florida Physique Report, signing off.